The rain tapped against the burrow walls, a steady, rhythmic cadence that usually signaled a night of deep rest. Inside, the air felt thick with warmth. The lamp cast a soft, amber glow across the room, catching the edges of the wooden shelves and the soft texture of the bedding. Bo was tucked deep under the covers, his eyes growing heavy as the storm outside settled into a low, hummed vibration. Everything was still, everything was safe. Then, the silence broke. A sharp, high-pitched sound cut through the room from somewhere beneath the frame of the bed. Squeak! Bo shifted, his breathing hitching as the sound repeated, followed by a faint, rhythmic sniffle. Squeak! The warmth of the burrow suddenly felt thin. Bo pulled the quilt up to his chin, his ears twitching as they rotated toward the floor. The tapping of the rain outside seemed to fade into the background, leaving only the sound of his own heart and the persistent, nervous noise coming from the shadows below. He stared into the darkness near the floorboards, his muscles coiled and ready, waiting for the sound to return. The sound came again, a sharp, ragged squeak that made Bo jump. He pulled his legs tight against his chest, pressing his back against the wall. Was it a monster? The shadows under the bed seemed to stretch and twist, turning into claws and teeth in his mind. He squeezed his eyes shut, trying to block out the noise, but his ears remained pricked, twitching with every new sniffle from below. Then he remembered. Mama used to say that fear was just a shadow, and the only way to banish a shadow was to shine a light on it. Being brave was not the absence of fear, she said. It was taking a peek. Bo took a deep, shaky breath. He unclenched his paws, letting the quilt drop to his waist. He leaned over the edge of the mattress, his heart thumping against his ribs like a drum. He needed to be sure. He held up one paw, trembling slightly in the dim light. He began to count, his voice barely a whisper in the quiet room. 1. He gripped the edge of the wooden frame. 2. He shifted his weight, preparing to drop his head below the level of the bed. 3. He took a final breath, closed his eyes for a split second, and plunged forward to peek. Bo flipped his head over the edge, eyes wide and searching. At first, the darkness held firm, showing nothing but a patch of floor and the corner of a ragged yellow fabric. He exhaled, his shoulders slumping. Nothing there, just shadows. But then, the shadows shifted. A soft, rhythmic blinking broke the stillness. 2 enormous golden eyes stared directly into his. Bo gasped, his breath hitching in his throat. The eyes widened, reflecting the dim lamplight, and then they gasped back. A strange, sharp intake of air vibrated from the floorboards. Bo scrambled backward, his paws flailing as he pulled himself onto the mattress, heart hammering against his ribs. The creature reacted instantly. A sudden rustle of fabric signaled a retreat. The golden eyes vanished, pulling back into the deepest corner of the dark space. Bo pressed his back against the wall, chest heaving, his ears pinned flat against his head. He had seen something living, something that was just as terrified as he was. Silence returned to the room, heavier than before. He stared at the edge of the bed, waiting for another sound, but the space underneath remained perfectly still. The monster was hiding, and Bo was too afraid to look again. Bo gripped his lamp until his knuckles turned white. He could not leave it like this. He crawled toward the edge of the mattress, his movements slow and deliberate. He reached down, his paw hovering over the floor. He needed to see. He lowered his body until his chest pressed against the rug, then slid the lamp forward. The light beam cut through the gloom, chasing away the shadows. He reached out and hooked his claw into the edge of the quilt, pulling it back with a sharp tug. There it was. Not a beast, but a giant, round, and tremendously fluffy creature squeezed into the corner. It was huddled in a ball, clutching a yellow scrap of fabric. It trembled so violently that the polka dots on its fur seemed to dance. A low rumble of thunder shook the house, and the creature squeezed its eyes shut, tucking its horns into its chest with a high-pitched squeak. Bo let out a long breath, the tension leaving his limbs. The monster was small. The monster was scared. The monster was just a fluff ball shivering in the dark. Bo reached out, his paw stopping inches from the creature's trembling side. Bo saw the fear in the creature's eyes. He kept his voice steady. "I am Gus," the creature squeaked. "The thunder is loud. I am sorry I scared you." Bo watched the polka-dotted fluff tremble. He knew that shaking. He had felt it too. He moved closer, his own heart steadying. "When something is scary, I count," Bo said. He held up his paw, counting the rhythm of his own breathing. Gus watched him, his wide eyes reflecting the lamp. Suddenly, the house groaned. A massive boom shook the floorboards beneath them. Gus squeaked, his paws flying up to cover his horns. Bo did not flinch. He grabbed Gus's large, trembling paw. "1," he commanded. Gus blinked. "2." Bo continued, his voice firm. "3." Together, they chanted the numbers into the dark. The thunder grumbled, echoing against the walls, but it sounded smaller now. Bo held the rhythm. They counted again. 1, 2, 3. Outside, the sky rumbled, but the house stood firm. Inside, the floor stopped vibrating. Gus took a long, ragged breath, his polka-dotted fur finally settling into a soft, still pile. He looked at Bo, the terror draining from his face. The counting had worked. The room felt different now. The tension had evaporated, leaving only the soft glow of the lamp. Bo moved to the bed, dragging the heavy quilt toward the floor. He propped it up against the base of the frame, using a stack of books to anchor the edges. It was a makeshift shelter, but inside, it was perfect. He gestured for his friend to join him. Gus crawled inside, his massive frame filling the space like a giant cushion. Bo sat against the soft curve of his side, feeling the warmth radiating from him. The rain had slowed to a rhythmic drip against the glass. Bo stood up, reached over, and pulled the curtains aside. The clouds had parted, revealing a vast, dark canvas pricked with pinpoints of silver light. He tapped Gus on the shoulder. "Look," he whispered. They moved to the window ledge together, standing side by side. Bo held up his paw. 1, 2, 3, peek! They leaned forward, pressing their noses against the cool glass. Outside, the night was not menacing. It was vast, quiet, and filled with thousands of twinkling stars. Gus stared, his eyes wide, reflecting the distant shimmer. He had lived in the dark for so long that he had forgotten the sky could hold such beauty. The wonder of the night air lingered, but the warmth of the burrow pulled them back. Bo climbed into his bed, leaving a wide space on the mattress. Gus followed, curling into a circle that mirrored the shape of the room itself. He settled against the mattress, his movements heavy and slow. Bo extended his paw over the edge of the bed, reaching into the shadows where he once feared to look. Gus moved his own paw, closing the gap until their feet touched. There was no shaking now, only the rhythmic rise and fall of 2 steady breaths. The lamp on the side table flickered, the flame dipping lower and lower until it became a soft, glowing ember. The room deepened into a comfortable, quiet dark. Bo did not worry about the sounds under the bed anymore. He knew what lived there. The fear that once kept him awake had been replaced by the steady presence of a friend. If you hear a squeak in the night, do not look away. Count to 3. Take a peek. You might find a friend waiting to meet you in the quiet. Good night, Bo. Good night, Gus. Sleep tight.